Hi, I'm Terry Murphy, the senior editor for Realty Times, Women in Business, Women in Real Estate in the men's room with Murph for Women's Wisdom Network. And you know what? Love is in the air. I mean, it should be in the air all the time, but especially during February when it's Valentine's Day and everybody's trying to do all that. So we have the expert himself. Greg Godek is a relationship expert who specializes in romantic love. He's the author of only 17 books on the subject, including 1,001 Ways to Be Romantic, a #1 national bestseller, and the best-selling book of all time on that topic. Even Oprah Winfrey has a favorite, number 584. We'll get to that later. Jay Leno talked about it in his monologue. So this is not a big secret by some guy. This is actually some of the greatest tips I've ever heard. He's the adorable husband of our BFF, Karen Buxman, neurohumorist. You can find him on the romanceproject.com. Greg Godek, welcome to Women's Wisdom Network.
Thank you so much.
I know that Karen just smiles all the time, and it's annoying because she's so happy. And, this is the month of February, and even though it'll date this, but I think every day is an opportunity to create that specialness for someone in your life. And you have 1,001 plus gazillion more ideas on how to do that. Now, I want to know, how come you know that?
How come I know?
How come you know how to be 1,001 ways romantic?
For me, it was just natural. So often, this kind of behavior, like you were talking to me off air earlier, we pick up so much from our parents, right? Behaviors are modeled. But I have to tell you, my father was the most unromantic man on earth. And I'm not sure, maybe it was to try to make up for that. It's like, no, you should be treating mom better. But for me, it was just natural. I mean, I had a girlfriend when I was in kindergarten. I mean, to me, why not? Why would you not? It's like, okay, I play baseball with the boys and all this and that, but the girls are a lot of fun too. And, I'm up until about maybe middle school, I got razzed, but it didn't bother me at all. Do you remember being young in elementary school, at least when the class was too noisy, one of the punishments was that at lunch we had to sit boy, girl, boy, girl. And I was the only boy that did not consider that to be a punishment. And it just people couple up. I mean, this is what human beings were meant to, it's the way we're designed, whether it's evolution or God made it this way. However, we're supposed to be together. And, very few people are supposed to be, gurus and celibates. Okay. Most people belong. We are better as couples than we are as individuals for the most part. And sure, it's a challenge to manage my personality together with your personality and all of that. But honest to goodness, it really is a most wonderful challenge.
Oh, it totally is. There's so much to it. So one of the topics I wanted to address for this segment was how love really works. What did you mean by that?
People mix up love and romance all the time. And
Nice distinction.
here is how it really works. Love is a feeling. Romance is an action. Okay? You don't do love. You feel love. I love you. What's happening here? It's a feeling inside of me. How would you know if I love you if I don't act on it? If I don't hold your hand, open doors for you, just be nice to you, call you in the middle of the day for no reason? So romance is the action that brings love alive. Okay. So, when relationships get going on and typically, a guy will say, oh, honey, I love you.
No, she
Well,
doesn't.
no, I knew you loved me 10 years ago when we got married, but what have you done lately? And when I say, what have you done? I rarely mean some big thing or some gift. Okay. And I think this is especially important around Valentine's Day, but we'll get to that, right?
Right.
A separate topic here. But romance, in expressing love, it is mostly about the little things. Romance says, I'm thinking of you.
And I'm going to tell you, as a woman, those little things are big things. I think men measure like big things like car. No, taking out the trash, equal.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
Oh, taking out the trash. I have to tell you, have you ever heard of a book called Porn for Women?
No.
This is the best book. It is a picture book of hunky guys doing housework.
Oh my God. Okay.
Isn't that it?
That's it. That is it.
It's so funny, but it's real. I haven't seen it in years. But if guys would get a clue on this, you're really right. Guys, you don't have to make the big grand gesture. One of the secrets around Valentine's Day is if you do little romantic things on a regular basis, you don't have to pull out all the stops on Valentine's Day. But as you see all around us, guys are trying to make up for lost time. Oh, here's 12 dozen roses.
Yeah.
Nah, she's not, that's not going to do it. So romance keeps us connected. And honest to goodness, it's little ways. Let me, okay. If you don't have your partner's, come on, photo, see, it's not coming up, right?
On your phone.
On your phone, that's not a very good, there's something in the middle there. But there
Oh,
we are. Honest to goodness, if this one little thing, right? Instead of whatever it is, Star Wars you have on your phone, if every time you pick up your phone, there she is, or there he is, just that alone might be enough. You're talking about how people stay mindful of this. This
mindful.
is actually, this is a systemic way of remembering. In other words, you don't have to remember if you create things in your environment that will remind you to take some action. Now, here's a silly little thing that's just me and Karen, and this is so much more of what it's about. It's like you two, what's special, what is unique, for the two of you. About a year ago, Karen, we worked out of the same space, and she goes, "Huh?" And I go, "What?" She goes, "It's 2:22." I go, "Yeah."
Yeah.
She goes, "Well, a little while ago, I looked at my phone and it was 11:11." And ever since then, whenever we notice a lineup of time, we take a screenshot. Oh, that was okay. Here it is. This is one that Karen sent to me yesterday. Okay,
Oh, how sweet
and
is
and
that?
and here's our little rule: you can't look for it. Okay,
Oh,
if it's 2:21, you can't sit there and wait for it to change and take a screenshot. It has to be completely random, and then we text it to the other. No message, never a message, and it simply says, "Thought of you."
exactly.
That's all it
That's it.
takes, and
I,
that's what is that love? It's romance,
yeah, but
and
it
romance.
acknowledges the love. It
Exactly.
acknowledges the fact that you have significance to me, that I'm thinking about you. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, when you think about how digiphrenic our world is, I mean, we're getting
Schizophrenic. That's a good word.
well, digiphrenia is a condition that happens when our brain's switching all the time because it takes 23 minutes and 15 seconds to go back where the brain was when you get pulled away. And when you get that little
I'm in big trouble.
well, yeah, we all are. And actually, that's a book by Douglas Rushkoff called Present Shock. It's a real study that was done, and you understand that you're there. It's your role. You're a mom. You're a wife. You're a CEO. You're a teacher, and there's always something going on. And so you're trying desperately to stay focused, but then you get
Mhm.
this beautiful little interruption that is welcomed. And it makes you realize that's why you do what you do, so that you can have this life with this person. So that's brilliant. And it's the little things. And of course, we've interviewed you and Karen before, and some of them are just precious little things. But when you talk about Valentine's Day, since we already brought it up, can we talk about that a little bit more?
Absolutely.
You did something, you just talked about getting a gazillion roses. And I'm not speaking to the five love languages here, because sometimes people need to be told, some people need to see, people
Mhm.
need the kinesthesia of it. They need to feel the hug. I mean, there's various ways that we all interpret being cared about. But when you talked about roses, you talked about variating the dozen, and I wish you'd talk about that for just a second.
Oh, okay. A great way to be romantic is start with the basics. Start with what you already know and then give it a creative twist. So we all know a dozen red roses. That's nice. But they're a little pricey, so let's save a little money, okay? Buy one red rose, okay? But to make it just a little bit more special, write a note. Now, if you're not a writer, if that's not you, find a poem, okay? There are a gazillion poems and things like that. You know, make it a little bit different. Um, um, I once suggested to a fellow, I'd say, okay, here's what, and we just do this on the spot. You know, it's like, okay, what can we do with roses? Okay, buy one red rose, clip off the thorns, take the thorns, put them in a little tiny baggie, attach it to the rose, and here's the note. All the love, none of the pain.
Oh, boom, boom.
Isn't that better than a dozen red
Well, it is
roses?
for somebody like me. Yeah, I don't want a dozen. They die all at the same time. You want to get some points, buy one, every other day or every once a week or something, because one rose is just as wonderful to me as a dozen,
Right,
and they last longer. And it tells me that you're thoughtful more than just once.
right. It remind me, I once had a fellow in the one of the romance classes, and he says, you know, well, my wife's really practical, sure, and it's true. Most women like roses and flowers. It's a big generalization, but it's pretty true. But he goes, you don't understand. My wife's really practical. I mean, when we were dating, I gave her roses, and she said they're only going to die tomorrow.
Yeah,
So that's not too romantic. But I said, simple solution: give her a rose bush.
exactly.
People let the silliest things stop them from being romantic. Here's another little one that I just love. Okay, give a dozen roses, but get 11 red roses and one white rose. And here's the note on this one.
Okay.
In every bunch, there's one who stands out, and you are that one.
Oh, Greg. Husbands are going to, have you had threatening notes from other
This is
husbands?
not threatening notes, but I've had some frustrated guys. And honest to goodness, guys, I am trying to help you. I mean, I'm not telling you to be romantic. She wants you to be romantic. And look, you're the one that fell in love with her. Okay. You were once crazy about each other. Okay. That's what it's about, is to try to capture pieces of that infatuation, because this is a mistake women tend to make, is that they define love as infatuation. You know, oh, we're not in love the way we were 20 years ago. Of course not. Okay. Because infatuation is largely about newness and discovery. There's not a whole lot more to discover when you've been married 20 years. But there are still thousands of ways of expressing that love. And the more you express it, the more it stays alive. Now,
That's such a
Valentine's
great,
Day.
yeah, that's such a great distinction though. Thank you.
You mentioned this earlier. Women, okay? So much of this in our culture, and it's really American culture, because let me tell you, I mean, Italian men, French men, very romantic, very expressive in general, a little more than Germans and
Well, yeah, yeah, they're bless their hearts.
yeah, there are cultural differences here. But so much of Valentine's Day is, what is he going to do for her? I
I
mean,
was just going to bring that up.
every year somebody publishes, they do the numbers, and it's like, on Valentine's Day this year, the average man spends $187 on her, and she spends $27 on him. It's like, wait a minute, wait a minute. What about me? And so, just a reminder to women. I mean, you tend to be closer to your feelings and being empathic, and just a reminder to take some action on that too.
I think that especially at Valentine's Day, and if you look at the generations, the onus has always been on the male to be romantic,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
I think uh, I think it's okay. Actually, I would recommend, if you want to make him feel special, that you as a woman do something that is as thoughtful. I mean, obviously, we're not going to necessarily buy men flowers. It doesn't translate necessarily the same way. It depends on the man. But doing those little things that make him feel special. Maybe you decide to abscond for a picnic. Maybe you kidnap him for a night and he just doesn't really
Mhm.
know where he's going for dinner. Something that makes him feel like he has some significance. Because at the end of the day, especially if you have family and jobs, you get all absorbed in giving all of that attention away, and then he gets what's left over. Which is pretty much your exhausted
Leftovers.
leftovers. And so what can you do to make that, it's always, to me, it's whether it's customer service, whether it's your most valuable players in business, what makes somebody feel significant? It's generally real, introspective, I call it hyperlocal, which means it's indigenous to them, attention that makes them feel like somebody cares about what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, what I need. And as
Absolutely.
a man, I know that you and Karen have a beautiful relationship. I'm just going to tell you, ladies, it's almost annoying when they can't not kiss each other, even when they're like just going to be apart for an hour. Okay. I would have to tase my husband if he did that because it would make me crazy. But